shot. Through score, they score. They tie the game up 2-2.
He drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse.
Wow.
5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. He rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the block.
Daniels takes the shot for Kirby.
Simultaneous drop, strike. Ready, go. Simultaneous hip. Good. It's going to drop.
What is up, all? Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on the good old X. The artist formerly known as, yes, you know it, the Twitter. You guys know. You know. It's always will always be a shout out to the artist formerly known as Prince. But yeah, one of the best concerts. And I've told you, Pitchfork Lunch was here before, one of the best live concerts. I have ever seen. Was phenomenal. But anyway, at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter, my IG, Michael.Caratino.5. Yes, don't. You can check out the show live there. Plus, you guys, YouTube, you can check it out live on my YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, because any interviews you've missed, aka the one I had with Coach Ragle on Friday, ASU assistant head coach, special teams coordinator. Also working, a man of many talents, obviously, but working with the D line a little bit. So we're still on that. Not in the beginning of the season, but at some point, we're hashtagging CJ fight for punt returner. All right. And CJ was kidding, laughing about that, but well, yeah. See, look at that, forks up, baby, forks up right there. Yeah, no, we had CJ on, who's kidding around about it. But anyway, YouTube, if you go to the YouTube channel, you miss an interview with Coach Ragle, and it's been one of many. He's been so gracious. Obviously, this first season of Pitchfork Lunch, as we are winding it down. But you can go to the YouTube, go to my channel, subscribe, go there and watch the show live. Either way, but watch the show live and subscribe. 2 for 1. How about that? But go to YouTube. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat, 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. And subscribe, because, again, any interviews, anything you may have missed, guys, anything you may have missed, interviews with obviously coaches, players, said it a zillion times, voices, insiders, alum, which I still have to aim to get a few on. But nonetheless, alum, legendary, ageless alum. You've missed that too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat, 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. And subscribe away, because, again, as the show wraps up, you got a lot of the first season to get caught up on. Yes, you have a lot to get caught up on, but you can do that over the break. But yeah, so Women's College World Series going on, Pac-12 wise, again, ASU related wise, still the Pac-12. Oh, I'm not going to cry. Stanford and UCLA, we're battling issue to results in a second with that, but yeah, they were playing baseball regional wise. A lot of there's some actually weather delays in softball, but some play was suspended too. But I know that team down south got eliminated in their own regional, by the way, which again, it happens to teams. So so yeah, weather delays and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so baseball, same way too. Play was suspended, all that good stuff. Again, it's warm weather. You think warm this time of year, obviously Major League Baseball in full swing and weather's warmer, but you know what? Sometimes, depending on where you are, the rain wants to pop up and rear its ugly head, right? Although in Arizona, in the middle of the summer, we will take rain happily, right? You guys know it. But yes, but like I said, recruiting, we talked about it. Well, again, not certain things, but the recruiting trail. And it has been absolutely huge. Coach Ragle said they're still obviously pounding the recruiting trail, the 2025 class. And and man, for the 2025 class, we had Coach Dillingham on, talking about the recruiting. He said, when you come in, obviously that first season, whether guys are going to hit the portal or not, trying to build, obviously, have enough players for a competitive spring ball. And, they were able to do that, maybe not have, I guess you could say, frontline guys, the depth at talent or the depth. And then, with that depth, more talent, but man, and he said, you're behind the eight ball if you're not, already looking at that 2026, 2027 range, right? In which, with the 2025s, obviously after last year with spring ball, again, definitely making that wave again, some coaching changes, obviously, wishing nothing but the best. Always loved talking to Coach Samples, but became assistant head coach and working with the running backs up at Oregon for Dan Lanning. And then you bring in Hines Ward as the receiver coach to replace him. And I'll get to the recruits, but that's definitely helped out with recruits, Devils, and with what they're doing in the Big 12 and even nationally. And they just got a verbal from a wide receiver in from Centennial, Corona, California, Centennial. Corey C.J. Butler Jr. But they were able to land him, and a good friend of the show, Chris Cartman. And you look up with and I saw obviously Butler. It's one of the fastest commits for ASU in decades. He ran a 10.55 in the 100 meters and a 21.43 in the 200 meters. Yeah, that is moving. And he also reportedly has a 4.3 GPA, a top 50 recruit in California. So, yeah, Corey Butler. Coming to Tempe. And then, so that you talk about that speed alone, and again, he graduates obviously next year, 2025, but it is, that school year is coming up. So his, last year, and again, Hines Ward, but, and look, people, when he first got hired, like, oh, it's a name, and you heard it here. I don't need to go back down that rabbit hole. Coach Dillingham talked about it. You heard Coach Ward talk about it, having coached, and what other coaches said about Coach Hines Ward to Coach Dillingham, and also, players, and just, what he brings to the table. And it's not just, resting on his laurels that he was a phenomenal NFL player, and, a two-time Super Bowl winner. Threw a touchdown against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl in Detroit. So when you look at that, but just what he is as a person, and Coach Dillingham talked about, and Coach Hines Ward talked about, players, and getting to see him, getting to know him. Well, it's one of those things where receiver wise, you're going to want to learn from a guy like that, right? Obviously. So that's one of those things where, when you land a guy like Corey Butler, and some of the other receivers they have, also, hitting it on the defensive side of the ball. They also landed out of San Clemente, California. Lee, but Puka Fuimaono, and he's a linebacker. Who led his team to a 9-2, his high school team to a 9-2 record, with a reported 93 tackles on the season. But you look at him, 6'1", 215, it says athlete, running back, linebacker, but obviously shining at linebacker. But yeah, he announced his his commitment to ASU as well. But yeah, when you look at what they're doing, okay, so they just got their 15th commitment on the board, right, for the 2025 class for ASU. It moves up to number 16 nationally. Coach Dillingham's obviously second season is just, again, I pause because, again, not for dramatic effect, but that's phenomenal. Number 16 nationally and number 1 in the Big 12 in the 2025 team rankings. You look at national rankings. Georgia's at 14, Wisconsin's at 15, and then ASU's at 16. And then behind them, you got Clemson at 17, TCU at 18, another Big 12 foe now, and then Tennessee at 19, Virginia at 20, and then Texas Tech at 21. When you look at the Big 12, you have ASU at 1, TCU at 2, Texas Tech at 3. UCF at 4, Oklahoma State at 5. Just ranking, obviously, their recruiting class. I mean, ASU has, 15 commits on the board. But yeah, so ASU at 1 has 15 commits, TCU at 12, Texas Tech has 12 as well, and then UCF and Oklahoma State have 9, as does Cincinnati, Baylor at 7, and Iowa State is at 8. But ASU, and it says, has no 5 stars, but 2 4 stars and 12 3 stars. And of those top 8 teams, there's not a 5-star, which again, but you look at how it's building, and a lot of, obviously, Tempe, Texas to Tempe guys. Yes, those last 2 guys I mentioned out of California, I get that. But yeah, I mean, just, and then Deshaun Bryant 2 days ago, by the way. I mean, this is huge. Offensive lineman, a left tackle for 14-1 state champion Duncanville High School, as a lot of you know, in Texas, has committed to ASU while on an official visit in Tempe after earlier being committed to Baylor. ASU was already ranked number 1 in the Big 12 in the 2025 class. So, I mean, that's – and again, when you have quite a few Texas to Tempe guys, and obviously having a guy, like CJ Fight here, and again, not just because I've had him on, but I've talked to quite a few of the guys from Texas. It's just, but it's leading that charge, and when you have somebody like that over the top selling it, the coaches see what they're doing. Obviously, Deshaun Bryant Jr. can see it, but I mean, state champs at Duncanville High. And that is, again, has a chance to go out back-to-back state champs. But 6'5", 250, I mean, just that length. And obviously with a little more room to grow, that is absolutely awesome. As they landed Deshaun Bryant. So, like Coach Ragle said, I mean, the recruiting trail, it's going to be the recruiting trail, and NIL side, all that, NIL, transfer portal side. But you're talking to these high school kids, and it is just it is just it's awesome that you're landing these guys now for the 2025 class. So, and which again you have to do, and I mean it's crazy to think because they take a break, season starts, and I mean, like Coach Dillingham said, I mean, you have obviously different coaches, different recruiting coordinators, and it's you have coaches, like I said, I mean, looking at the 2026 class and the 2027 class and like what what they're doing. You're looking at it. You're obviously just have to stay. Well, I was going to say up to speed, but ahead, And, you see what they do as freshmen, so this, so obviously, well, they're sophomores now, but 2028, I mean, that was the freshman class this year. So like it is, as you know, and I always say it's ongoing, but what they've done, what they brought through the transfer portal, yes, a surprise, some guys left. Elijah Badger transfer, Ed Woods. I mean, that came out of nowhere. But man, there's like I said, I mean, and for the 2025 class, there's obviously a lot to be excited about so far. But but for this upcoming season too. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's been an awesome. Sorry, looking at some notes, but on Deshaun Bryant, I mean, this young man again, just absolutely. I mean, again, offensive line. You saw it. You need that. You need the depth, but talented depth, developing depth, and knock on wood from last season. But they got through it. So it's oh man, like I said, it is awesome. So yeah, I mean, between California and Texas, and it said, oh, where was it? Yeah, so it says ASU's hashtag Texas Tempe is, and I've talked about this, but obviously Chris Cartman sent this out. But I knew obviously Texas Tempe, and I knew they already had quite a few top 100. I knew that. I thought they had 3 top 100 California players. As I was going through and looking at recruiting stuff, and where obviously some local guys learning, but California and ASU now has more 2025 top 100 commits from California than any other school, and that's a 20 from a 24/7 Sports. Chris Cartman, obviously, composite. ASU has 6. UCLA has 5, Cal has 4, Oregon and Stanford has 3, Arizona has 2, SMU has 2, Texas A&M, USC, and Utah all have 2, but ASU with 6. His coaching staff, again, you talk about energy, and people say, oh, a younger head coach, and oh, he should, like you said, he should have energy, but again, just the, pouring into obviously the recruiting and what, even with a record that was 3-9, you can see that, again, injuries, whatever, you got to roll the ball out and play, right? Like Coach says. Coach, I say, nobody cares. I like Savin to say, well, it's not that they don't care about the injury, but they have their own problems. You got to roll the ball out and play. And they do. But nonetheless, you look at it and they can see what this coaching staff is doing, who's in the coaching staff. I mean, even talking to, like I said, he talks to Coach Ragle, but when he talks to Coach Brian Ward, the defensive coordinator, before spring ball started, and just what he's looking to grow, hearing from the defensive players during spring ball, how the defense, how they've been able to grow. Yes, working in, a ton of guys that are obviously back and in the second year of this system, and, turning it loose a little bit more. That is absolutely phenomenal. So, again, where does that pay off? In recruiting, when you're getting guys. Coach Saga, Tuitele, offensive line is talking about his guys' toughness, but developing the group, and just and Coach Dillingham has posted, and we've seen, and even Coach Iguano, obviously the Polynesian pipeline. But coaches that are going to get you, you're going to work for it. You're going to come in and compete. You hear it a million times, and it's not just tongue in cheek, and it's not just coach speak. You're going to compete. And that's what they're doing. So again, very, very stoked for CJ Butler, to get the commitment from CJ Butler. I mean, that's just, like I said, crazy. A 10.55 in the 100, and he was just finishing up, obviously, his junior year in a 21.43 in the 200, 4.3 GPA. Cool, man. Get it done in the classroom, get it done on the field. And it'll be interesting to see if he's here. And again, not trying to fast forward through the season, but if he will be here, and again, he's got some time, and as does obviously as does Puka Fui Maono. Have time, and the others again that they've landed. So it's just awesome. It is very awesome. And even Michael Tollefson, who's committed, who is a from North Las Vegas. He's so again, just another adding to the talent, adding to the depth, the talent, and it's just going to be very, very awesome to see what they do this year. But I'm going to take a quick break, get back. I'm going to jump into some more news and notes, give you guys some other updates and stuff like that. But some more news and notes, wrap up a little bit more of the recruiting. But again, so very stoked for ASU as they have again, just as they build in recruiting. So yeah, so some more news and notes. Again, maybe a little hoops, a little wrestling, huh? Had Coach Jones on talking about his Pac-12 champions. Obviously, they won their first Pac-10 tournament back in the day, and then now they won the last Pac-12 championship. So little news and notes there. I'll step aside, and more coming up here on Pitchfork Lunch. And we are back here on Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as the Twitter. You can see it on my IG, michael.caratino.5, and the YouTube channel, kids. Go to YouTube and subscribe. Like I always tell you, it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe away. You saw there a little Jordan Tyson going up against another young man, Keith Abney, who's, oh, by the way, from Texas as well. Yeah, I love those. Again, the main event, the battles, and that's from spring ball. I'm talking about receivers committing. Again, this is Jordan Tyson, also a huge freshman year at CU, transferred to ASU. He made a ton. Of catches like this. And just, again, and look, we'll go back. It may have been a little bit of a push off. Nice move off the line. I mean, let me push him out a little bit. He starts a little bit of battle there, the concentration. And yeah, Jordan Tyson, he made a ton of catches. Like I said, throughout the spring. As, again, the team, the offense celebrating in that. And, you talk about, him making plays like that. But then also I showed you, you saw this one here where, again, Deontay Bradley, this young man, again, just grew last year because he played a lot of scout team. He was numbers, but also got reps looking at off the ball. It may have been a little under control, but it doesn't matter. Look how Bradley goes up against him. It shows you during spring ball. But in talking recruiting against secondaries, sidelines, eyes, Caleb Black's eyes, and runs around. Again, one last time, look at the athletic interception that he makes. And look at that cameraman. Boom. Gets point right there. That is what you love to see. And just finding the receiver that is right there for that coverage. Again, you're going to need that. A guy like Ed Woods transferring. It's one of those things. But that being said, other news and notes from around Sun Devil country, kids. That obviously the volleyball team in Brazil. They were in Brazil. I'll have more on that tomorrow for you. But yeah, I shall have more on that for you tomorrow. And what they did there, but also and just announced a little bit before I started the show. But on their official X and Twitter page, one last ride for the Colton train, Colton Schultz. But yeah, he's back. It says one last ride in Tempe, so that is awesome for the heavyweight. The season he had, um, the heavyweight, he had a heck of a season. I mean, first place, like I said, Pac-12 championships, 5 individual titles, and I want to say, I mean, and ASU won that. Remember, kids, ASU won this last Pac-12 by 23 points. I mean, wrestling, that's comfortable. That's very comfortable. It was 137. They had 137 and a half points, and Little Rock was second at 114 and a half. Then Oregon State at 109, Stanford 101 and a half, Cal Poly at 96 and a half, then CSU Bakersfield 38. Colton Schultz again took first place in the semifinal. He received a bye in the quarterfinal. Sorry, received a bye in the semifinal. Colton Schultz won by fall over Josiah Hill of Little Rock at 105. And then in the final, Schultz won again by fall over Boone McDermott of Oregon State at 101. So, look, this man is just on fire, and it is so awesome. He will be back in Tempe next season, obviously, for the Devils. Very, very stoked for that. So yeah, very stoked for that. Also, ASU, don't forget, wrestling is camps coming up. You can register at sundevilwrestlingcamp.com, open to any and all, but they have team. It's June 23rd through 30th. Just a quick reminder. I know I mentioned it earlier, but it's been a minute since I mentioned it. So June 23rd through 30th. Team is the 23rd through 26th, and then 27th through 30th. Technique. They're doing team technique, all those dates. And then girls, the 27th through the 30th. And then intense is the whole time, or intensive, sorry. So again, they are having the wrestling camps. If you know some wrestlers, haven't got a chance to register for it, get on out there and do it. But they have, again, what Coach Jones has done, an alum, part of the, a national champion at ASU, a silver medalist that we were so honored to have on the show. Again, as I am lucky, and it's just awesome to have these coaches join us or join me on the show. And again, get obviously, they're not all their tricks of the trade, because we don't want people copying it, taken away from Tempe. Forks up, as you know it, absolutely. But yeah, talking to Zeke Jones, it was again just absolutely awesome. So again, looking forward to Summer Olympics. Yeah, for the Summer Olympics, and again, he said he'd be out there, so we're looking forward to it. And hey, see what the wrestling in general can bring home, but what these Devils might bring home, man. So so looking forward to it. Have more obviously on that coming up. So again, just that's what they did at at the Pac-12, and then at Nationals, Richard Figueroa, as you know, brought home a. They finished 6th overall, but Figueroa brought home a national title, and the Devils finished 6th at the tournament. But I mean, again, just a hell of a season. And that was ASU's first, by the way. Recap quiz. Come on, kids. I mean, you know I knew it, but since 2019, Figueroa delivered ASU's first individual national championship since 2019. Sun Devils place 6th. I mean, they're like Penn State, again, what they've built. Obviously, it's the Iowa had that long dominance. Iowa State, Iowa had that long dominance, but what Penn State has built in wrestling, it's been pretty insane. They won by 100 points. They were in first, 172.5. Cornell had 72.5. Michigan 71. Iowa State 68.5. Iowa 67. ASU 64.5. Richard Figueroa, again, individual results. He was 5-0 and first place, first time All-American. Julian Chelbov was 1-2 at the 133. Figueroa at the 125 weight class. Forgot to mention that. Just a reminder, Jesse Vasquez went 2-2. Kyle Parco was 4-2. He finished 5th. And he's a 4-time All-American. Again, Parco's had it. And I talked about it after this, but with a phenomenal career, went over quite a bit of his career accomplishments here at ASU, but a 4-time All-American. And then Ja'Cory Teamer was 4-1. He took 2nd. He's a 4-time All-American as well. Kel Valencia was 1-2. Tony Negron was 0-2, and then Colton Schultz 3-3, finished 6th, 4-time All-American as well. But yeah, I mean, you look at Figueroa doing it since 2019, and then Zahid Valencia went back to back. I know I mentioned that 2018 and 2019 as an individual champion at the 174-pound weight class. Anthony Robles before that in 2011, along with Bubba Jenkins in 2011. Robles at 125, Jenkins at 157. Eric Larkin in 03 at 149 pounds was an individual. All these guys were individual champs, and then Marcus Mullica in 95 at 167, but Mullica also did it in 93 at 158. So he jumps weight classes and is a 2-time individual champion, which again, yeah, if your body frame can handle it, technique, speed, everything that comes with the sport, don't need to go down that road. But I mean, he jumped weight classes and was a 2-time individual champ. Ray Miller at 167, also in 93, was an individual champ. And then Dan St. John in 1990. I remember watching him wrestle. Well, he did it 89 and 90. He did the same thing. He was at 158, then jumped to 167. So yeah, St. John won individual title in 89 at 158, and then in 90 at 167. So back-to-back years. Individual champ, 2 different weight classes, and then Eddie Urbano in 1985 at 150, and then Curly Culp, the legend, who also played football, as we know, in 1967. But yeah, I mean, that's just, again, absolutely awesome. Love what Zeke Jones is doing. I mean, Figueroa be back, Colton Schultz back, and that's just again, absolutely awesome. Big loving, again, a few times we got to see them and talk to Coach Jones here, but just see him at meets and just love ASU wrestling. Again, absolutely love it. I know it's a homer show, and if Paul was here, if the mighty PLR was here, although I could actually give him a hard time because he deserves a little bit of a hard time, but we love him. He's a Sun Devil. We love him. So anyway, but yeah, so that is obviously wrestling. Men's tennis, women's tennis wrapped up again. Lacrosse, obviously, they were playing Mina Scott and Zoe Missouri were playing in Maryland this weekend. Unfortunately, the games weren't streamed, but that was, again, absolutely awesome. And then for Matt Harrison, men's tennis, Murphy Casson and Jacob Bullard had a hell of a doubles run. I know I mentioned it last week, but they got to the quarterfinals. And then, Casson also was in the quarterfinals. But yeah, him and Bullard 13-3 on the season. And again, that's just absolutely awesome. And we talked to him in the beginning of the season, thought, this team could make a run. Matt Hill, I'm sorry, I said Harris. Apologies, Coach Hill, but we had Coach Hill on talking about obviously the a little bit of the international flavor to his team, obviously tennis and water polo. But yeah, the run they had, man, just absolutely awesome. Big fans of so yeah, but nonetheless, with tennis, and I mentioned, what water polo did as well, but football, again, just absolutely huge. Absolutely huge recruiting wise, and it's still rolling. So again, just very, very stoked we could again, seeing where this energy is going, where it's taking everybody. So big fan of what football is doing. And you're looking at guys coming in, depth everywhere, but that 2025 class creeps up to tops in the Big 12, 16th nationally. And yeah, there's obviously a little bit of time. You think December's early signing day. So a lot of that, go through the summer and the season, which again, not trying to fast forward to, looking very much forward to, as definitely. And again, talking about Coach Ragle said, getting excited, getting amped up. We were touching about that when we touched on that on Friday. So yeah, to me, it's just, it is very, very awesome. Again, what they've done in recruiting. And like I said, the most recent is CJ Butler. Centennial, Corona, California, and 10.55 in the 100, 21.43 in the 200, 4.3 GPA. But yeah. Oh, also with hoops, Palm Springs for the holidays. Men's hoops will face New Mexico on November 28th as part of the Acrisure series. So that is where they will be Thanksgiving time. And they've also obviously the guys they've signed, Jackson's Josan Sanan. Sanan is a Sun Devil. Oh, there's some great pictures. I mentioned this. I know I talked about, obviously, Bill Walton passing away last week, and the pictures around ASU. And I mean, Doug Tamaro had great pictures. And like I said, I got to talk to him. Never thought of taking a picture. I should have, but nonetheless, you live, you learn, right? But yeah, just there's things of Bill Walton leading the band at ASU, and then a post-game interview with Bobby Hurley and Dave Pash, where Bobby's actually laughing because Bill's like, you probably got to relax a little bit, Coach. But yeah, a lot of great pictures. But yeah, you look at guys that are Jaden Quinton's kind of started that. Big man. Very, very, yeah. Big fan of Jaden Quinton's back on May 14th. Committing to ASU. And then also Amir Ali. And again, in this day and age, multiple transfers now. And again, haven't seen anything from that court case, guys, real quick. So again, teams obviously not penalized, said they wouldn't be penalized if they played players. So that's on that. And then a kid from Detroit transferred, but he's a seasoned vet. Bashir Jihad is officially a Sun Devil as well, as is BJ Freeman. And then Brandon Gardner as well. And this kid, long, athletic. And then Alston Mason. Committed Austin Nunez. You guys remember him. He's back. Now that they're in the Big 12, he was here. Went to Ole Miss, and now he is back in the Valley as well. So Bobby Hurley again, and then bringing in, and then like I said, Josan Sanan, also a Devil. So, and you look at bringing in Jarence Howard as an assistant coach. Talk about him, his experience, what he's done, where he's been, as long as he worked with Bill Self the longest, but also worked with, guys like Larry Brown. And the proof is in the pudding with his recruiting. Again, I mentioned a lot of the guys he recruited. So, yeah, absolutely stoked for men's hoops, but they will be in Palm Springs for the holidays, a part of the Acrisure series, and they will take on New Mexico November 28th. Just a heads up there for all. So, that's that's where it's at, and recruiting is always breaking. Oh, hold on. Wow. Chris Cartman just this is breaking. So wide receiver Michael Scott, the number 27 prospect in Pennsylvania's 2025 class, has committed to Arizona State. Hines Ward takes a wideout from the state, obviously where he starred with the Steelers. Scott has a school record long jump, 22 feet, 11 inches. Yeah, he had an official visit, and Scott listed 5'8", 155 pounds as the number 27 prospect, like I said, in Pennsylvania's 2025 class, and the number 176 wide receiver overall on the 24/7 Sports Composite. He is the number 186 wide receiver in the class as evaluated by 24/7 Sports. ASU, James Madison, and Kansas State comprised Scott's top three earlier in the recruiting process. He listed being offered a scholarship by Boston College, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Maryland, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, and others. As the junior last season, he had 33 catches for 493 yards and 5 touchdowns, and 40 carries for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also played and lined up at quarterback occasionally, completing 11 of 18 passes, which, I mean, again, not a ton, but for 170 yards with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. You'll take that. He clocked a personal best of 11:04. Pardon me. I had a sneeze. 11.04 seconds in the 100 meters this spring, and a personal best of 22 feet, 11 inches in the long jump. Yeah. Which is a school record and the 16th best mark in the state this year. Scott's ASU 16th public commit in the class, which ranked number 14 nationally at the time of this announcement. So, yeah, that just broke. Very, very awesome. And, yes, he is busy. It is a crazy time. I'm going to aim to get Chris Cartman on to talk about these guys. Again, being the publisher of Sun Devil Source for 24/7 Sports. And, man, again, just all that they do, awesome coverage. I mean, rivals as well, but like the recruiting, it is an insane. I mean, you talk about for coaches and programs being insane. Yeah, covering it. Although this day and age with social media, again, a teeny bit easier, but still got to be accurate on top of it, seeing where they're going. But with social media, a teeny bit easier. But yes, it is. It is awesome. So Michael Scott, another wide receiver, committing to the Devils. Big fan of that. So yeah, again, Hines Ward again going to the state where he, was an absolute legend to Pennsylvania, and then obviously in Pittsburgh, but getting another athlete, obviously a receiver, but athlete over here. So that is just awesome. So on that note, hey, we're going to get out of here. I will see you tomorrow again, efforting a guest. So again, you don't want to go too far. You know who it is. Same bat time, same bat channel. Again, at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. You see show live there every day. Hit me up, thoughts, questions, anything. Yeah, feel free. Hit me up. Also, my IG, Michael.Caracino.5. See the show live there every day. And guess what, Pitchfork Lunchers? You know it, the YouTube channel. For anybody that has not subscribed, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Even if you get to watch live, which you know I love it. I love hanging out here with me. But go to my YouTube channel. It's at M is in Michael, V is in Victory, C is in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube and subscribe. Make it that easy. And then you can go catch up all the interviews you've missed, which again, you have missed a plethora, I like to say, of interviews. Just great interviews and getting to know coaches, programs, players, all that good stuff. But yes, go to the YouTube at MVC005 on YouTube and subscribe away. Have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Again, efforting a guest, which will, again, be a Sun Devil and be awesome. So you want to be here. Yeah, have a great rest of your Monday. And yes, you know it, Pitchfork Lunchers. It's a Sun Devil state. And as always, forks out.
Terry's three.
Johnny Walker matching up against control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2.
Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edward pulls off. And buries the
Daniels takes the shot